What's going on? It's Josh Rand from Stone Sour and you're watching Guitar Mania channel.
Josh, welcome to Vienna.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you here in Austria with your new album Hydrograd. And you played another sold-out show in Munich last night. Yeah,
it was unbelievable. This whole year for us has just been unbelievable. But this specific tour in Europe, just how the band has taken this huge step as far as how many people are coming out to the shows to see us is, it's kind of unreal or surreal to us. It's not like we're a young band. We've been doing this for quite a while, so to have the response that we've had and the people, these numbers grow this far into our career on the 6th record, it's kind of unheard of. It usually doesn't happen. So I mean, we're just taking it all in and are very thankful for that.
I think it's just an indication of the quality of the new album and the work that you put in the past decade, probably, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think with this record specifically I think people hear the honesty in the record, and what I mean by that is by the way that we approached recording it. We got into one big room as a band and recorded the record in basically 7 weeks. We ended up recording 19 originals, 4 acoustic versions, cut a couple of videos, all in the studio, and it's pretty amazing. It really was painless. We laughed so much and everyone had so much fun, and I think it translated in the music, and I think we did it, like I said, we did it as a full band, no click track. So basically all that editing crap, it was literally, does it sound, how does it sound, not what it looks like or if it's proper. And I think that also is what people naturally gravitate towards. I mean, all my favorite records, they didn't have that editing capabilities, and the imperfection sometimes is what makes it awesome and perfect, really. So we knew that we were going to record it as a band, and that kind of started with when we did the 2 cover EPs at Roy's. We recorded those basically live together in his little studio. So I think that kind of was like, well, we can make a actual real proper Stone Sour record that way. It kind of gave us, I think, the confidence and the label confidence that, hey, we back this with you guys going in and trying to do that, and they really believed in the album going into it and gave us truly, which they've always have been gracious when it, I've heard label nightmares of stuff, and Roadrunner's been amazing to us as far as giving us musical freedom to do whatever. So
musically or technically, did you prepare in any way for the record?
I mean, we had started writing for it when we started the cover albums. So, there's like a year and a half of us kind of preparing for it. We would take a week, because all out of the schedule, and, all of us live all over the US. So, and then of course you tie in, other people doing other projects.
Sure.
But we would put together a week, and we would work on 5 original songs at Roy's, where the 5 of us would get together. And it was kind of just like we did the covers. So it was kind of, we had this workflow of every couple, I'd say, every 3 to 4 months, the 5 of us getting together for a week and working on stuff, whether it was the cover stuff or 5 originals. And then we just kept that going up until we went into the studio, which then kind of gave us a really good sketch of what the record was going to be.
Now on tour, is there a particular warm-up routine, or do you practice while you're on tour?
I try to play at least an hour, but it's more of just maintenance, I guess, than learning, because it's just, it's a different atmosphere. Obviously, it's a different room every day that I'm in, and it's not the comforts of my home or a studio even. And so I did put together a brand new Pro Tools rig for this cycle, yeah, and I have started writing some of the stuff out on the tour.
Right, so you're someone who is actually writing on tour.
Yeah.
Not many people do that.
Yeah, and I used to do especially in the beginning, so much of stuff that's on Come Whatever May I actually had written when we were touring the first record, and then I kind of got away from it. And this tour, I'll be honest, I mean, I have my girlfriend out with me, so you know, it's like any spare time we're out sightseeing or you know, all that stuff. So but I'll get back to it, you know, once we fire up next year of writing stuff.
And of course, I mean, you have developed incredible chops and skills, and you also published a tutorial DVD in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Any plans on doing another one?
Probably not. I mean, the thing that was cool and really drew me into doing that was the fact of the story part of it, you know, and more than the technical side. You know, it's like I can show you a bunch of exercises and stuff that I do or whatever, but it's like you can get online and see. There's so much now with the internet compared to when I first started playing. Yeah, I mean, it was like, you know, you waited every month for that guitar magazine to come out to look at a column. Now it's like you hit sweep picking search and there's so much that your head explodes. I mean, there's so much information. And so, you know, and the other thing that was cool was just to teach people like the proper way of how it was more geared towards truly the Stone Sour fans. And I, you know, by no means like a guitar virtuoso like some of the guys that I look up to, you know, whether it's you're wearing a Dream Theater, so it's like John Petrucci or Steve Vai or Satriani, you know, or Paul Gilbert. You know, those guys are so far advanced, you know, and that's, you know, I'm still taking classes. As it was kind of weird to put that out because I'm still taking online classes at Berkeley. I actually have one more class I need to take, and then I'll have my master's certificate, which is the highest thing for an online student. So I hope to get that done.
How long did that take?
I started taking them in 2009 or 10, and I've just taken a class here or there, and it's more of just where I feel like, and I didn't start it to get like the certificate. I just kind of took the classes when I felt like I was hitting a wall. You know what I'm saying? Where I felt like I couldn't write anymore, or just I felt where I just needed that extra motivation or kick in the butt or a new direction.
Did it also provide inspiration?
Yeah, actually over the years, I mean, it's influenced a couple things. Like one of the classes that I had to take, which was like chords 201 or whatever, and we started doing all these weird chords, and I ended up using those jazzy type chords in a song called The Satanists, which is or not The Satanists, The Sadist on House of Golden Bones 2. So it has paid off for me over the years of somehow.
I mean, you can really sense also with the new records that the influence, it appears as if the influences are coming through from maybe your formative years. You hear a bit of Maiden, you hear a bit maybe of Priest, also Slayer, Metallica, some parts, but never in a way that you say, it's always this is where the inspiration comes from. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I'll go back to those covers. We had so much fun doing all those covers and playing that I think that also helped with this record, where it was kind of, we got back to, you know, the whole point of us doing the covers was to get back to when we first started playing, what got us excited and made us want to play music. And that's what we set out to do with those covers. It was literally no more than that. And then that's why they were record day exclusives, you know.
Is there something you would recommend for someone who's trying to learn the guitar, to play covers and to go and study and get a theoretical background?
I'm on the fence with the theory thing, I'll be honest, because I think depending on the player, it can really stifle the creativity side. I think that you can get into that box where you're thinking more of what it should be, kind of almost like Pro Tools, where instead of what just feels natural to you, you might go, oh, I can't do that because it might not make sense, or theoretically it's this or that. And that's where it gets tricky when you start getting into all that, where, you know, some of the greatest songwriters in history, and they couldn't read music and they just went off of what felt right to them. So it's really, it all depends on the person and what they want to achieve. I mean, that's what I think it comes down to.
Is there a particular album that influenced your playing a lot? That was.
Oh yeah, for me it all started because I actually started on bass guitar, and then I switched to guitar. And what made me decide to make that change was Street Lethal, Racer X. I heard that, and I was just like, I want to learn how to play like that. I was just like frenzy, so over the top. And yeah, that album to me changed everything.
And since then, presumably you underwent a certain routine of practicing, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours a day, probably.
I did spend a summer where I was really crazy, and that's really where I made that jump in my playing as far as the speed and the accuracy. I spent like a summer where I played 6 to 8 hours a day. Yeah, for like 3 months, and that's really where I got my hands really synced up. Like now, now I'm so much older and I have kids, and you know, that stuff, to be able to give that much dedication would be really difficult. As far as really putting in that many hours, you know, it's like, I remember, and I'm sure you do as a player, you know, Guitar World coming out and Steve Vai going, I play 10 hours a day, and everybody's mind about explodes. Like, how the fuck does he play 10 hours a day? You know, but
and then he went and listed his routine. He would do scales, chords, and then he would repeat that twice.
Yeah, it's something crazy. I thought what was interesting in that, though, was like where he mentions of doing like, what did he call it? He had an hour set aside in that routine, sensitivity hour, where he would focus on really just getting the nuances of like notes and how they rang, and which I thought was really interesting.
Were there any moments in your development as an artist where you thought, oh my God, music, that's not for me? Where you needed to?
I think regardless of what would have happened, it still would have always been a part of me. Whether I worked and drove a truck every day or whatever, you know. I mean, because for me, Stone Sour came late. I mean, Stone Sour didn't, by the time we got signed with Stone Sour, I was already 26. I was married, had one daughter on the way. You know, life had already started for me. So I would have continued playing regardless. I don't, and the insecurity to me, I just do what I feel is right. I mean, and if people like it, then great. If people don't, that's fine. That's the way it is.
Mm-hmm. How important is gear for you?
The gear is really important to me. I've spent, you know, forever looking. Actually, I just bought a guitar today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Here at Clownfiber?
Well, I didn't buy it here. I actually got it online. I was really stoked. I got the 88, 89 Yngwie Candy Apple Red with the rosewood fretboard instead of the maple, those are so hard to find now. So I was really stoked about that. But, you know, gear is important. I think, you know, for me, I've been pretty fortunate to be able to try different things and stuff and really hone in what works best for me. I also think another thing that's important is just the basic maintenance of everything. I think a lot, especially young players, let that stuff go. But if a guitar's not set up right and everything's functional on it, it's gonna make it more difficult to play, which might make you not wanna play. I think maintenance to me is as important as anything. Like, I'm crazy about all that stuff. I mean, when it comes to keeping everything clean, the frets polished, strings clean, intonation, like I'm on it. I mean, my guitar tech will tell you I'm constantly like, my frets get polished every string change. Yeah, every day. And so I think that's important. I just think that there's a comfort to it and you get used to it. And then, you know, obviously the gear is important, but the gear, it's a trial and error thing, because what works for me might not work for you. So, I mean, it's literally hard to say, you need to play this. And you can go buy a $10,000 guitar. That doesn't mean that it's going to be any better for you than a $300 guitar. I mean, one of my best guitars is the cheapest guitar I own, and it's been on every record except for the first record for me.
Which one is that?
It's a LTD Truckster.
I love LTD guitars.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it honestly when we had started rehearsals for Come Whatever May, and it was just going to be my hotel guitar as we made that record. And I brought it in one day and we plugged it in, and Nick Raskulinix, the producer, and was like, everybody was blown away by it. And I paid $600 for it at a Sam Ash store, and it's been on every Stone Sour record since.